This week on the Best Flarking Podcast, we're talking a little bit about the Switch. We both saw Logan. There's some Deadpool stuff circulating, a brand new What If, and a little bit of talk about Iron Fist. All of that and the Reeg report on the Best Flarking Podcast. And of course, you know, when Polly's in trouble, I am not slow. It's hip, 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 and podcast go.
And then there came a day like many others. The Best Flarking Podcast. Your nerd's eye view of TV, film, comics, and video games. With you as always, your mother flarking hosts, Dunners and Reeg. Fellas, show them who they're flarking with.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the Best Flarking Podcast. I'm Dunners, he's Reeg. It is 3/7/2017. We are in a post-Nintendo Switch world, and it is episode 49 of the Best Flarking Podcast. Not only is it just a post-Switch world, it's a post-Logan world, because Logan's out now, and we saw it. We're not going to talk about it first. We're going to talk about other stuff, because there's funnier things to talk about. But before we get to that, Reeg, how are you, man? How you doing?
It's good to be here with you today.
It's bad to be here with not you always. That's the inverse of that.
That's the inverse.
That's the inverse, bro.
Shit.
That's the inverse, dog.
What a week, man.
What a world. What a time to be alive, as the kids like to say.
Holy moly.
Did it?
You mentioned post-Switch,
Post-Switch world.
And post-Logan world, but also post-Horizon world, I would say.
I mean, not for me.
You don't know yet, because you don't know.
Not for me.
You don't know what you don't know.
I mean, I can totally get into the idea of, you know, Celtic Zelda lady hunting dinosaurs that are robots. That's not a hard sell for me. Robot dinosaur. It didn't even have to have anything else. Just like, yeah, it's got robot dinosaurs. And I'm like, all right, let's all these. Check it out.
I'm in. Yep.
So I'm down with it. I'm down with that. I'm actually, speaking of post-Switch world, I am actually trying to get my advance on a project paid as a Nintendo Switch and Zelda as part of my advance on one of my projects.
Not even the money. Just give me the
It's
equipment.
like, you can give me the money, the rest of the money at the end, but the part I want to secure the thing in the beginning is I want you to go find a Nintendo Switch and a Zelda and bring it to me, and that'll be awesome. Let's do that.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to happen, but, you know, what can you do? Apparently they, you know, as Nintendo is wont to do, they have been trickling into stores all over the country, over the world, actually. But they've been like, oh, yeah, we got this shipment, and then we have a shipment coming tomorrow, and a shipment coming the day after that, and and people are having to play, like, classic Nintendo scarcity tactics, which sucks because only Nintendo does that now.
Only Nintendo.
You know, and as much as a fan I am and always trying to stand up for them, this is not one of those things I stand up for them on, because I really do think it doesn't help anything, because it's like, if you're in the spot you're projected to sell this many systems, just start selling the systems. It's not like the people who want them want it less because they have access to it. The only people who benefit from this particular type of style are scalpers. People who buy it so they can sell it for $600 online and double their money. And Nintendo doesn't even see dime one of that.
Right.
So it's like,
bing, 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 bing. You, sir, are correct.
so it's like, cool. That's awful. That's awful of you to do.
It's not making me run out and grab one.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, well, I'm not going to go run and wait in line, because if I have to fight someone off Black Friday style to get the last one, that sounds awful.
Well, and let alone, I mean, you know, I'm not wanting a Switch because the FOMO is real. But have you seen the hardware issues this thing has been having?
I don't have an aquarium, so I'm pretty sure I won't have those problems. But the thing is
metal
did you see
or anything?
Did you see on iFixit.com though somebody fixed it already?
Are we speaking to just the Joy-Con issue?
Yeah, the Joy-Con issue, because that's the only issue that I've seen across the board.
The scratches on the bezels, constant freezing, dead pixels.
Oh, see, I mean, that stuff sound like those are more intermittent than, like, the Joy-Con seems to be like a thing that's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like scratches on the thing are like, yeah, dude, it got shipped from Japan. There's some scratches on it. Shut up. Like when I hear,
not scratches on it, removing it from the dock.
Oh, like it scratches it
by putting it.
Oh.
It's scratching the bezel.
I mean, I don't care about that. I mean,
people have put like felt on the inside of theirs to guard it. And
yeah,
shit,
I mean,
so.
I kind of figured that would happen. Like, it's just like when I started seeing people be like, my bezel got scratched. It's like, dude, there are people whose like left controller doesn't work. Shut up. Like, oh, I got scratches on the front of my thing. It's like, shut up, dude. Does your system work? Yeah. Well, then shut up. Just shut up. Let them have
Just shut up.
Let them have the floor for a second with their actual problems. But yeah, iFixit posted a teardown. They open up the left Joy-Con, and all you have to do is stick a length of wire into the Bluetooth antenna and coil it around the inside of the Joy-Con and electrical tape it down and then put it back together. And they've done it on 4 switches and no problems after that.
I did hear about that.
Which is like one, like I can see Nintendo wanting to make it as cheaply as possible and blah, 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 blah.
Oh
but
my god! Of course. Have you seen the dock? It's just plastic and a small
have you seen the kickstand? But like the thing is like, dude, a length of wire, like 4 inches of wire, costs like a penny, dog.
Well, it's not only that. Yeah,
you know, like the thing is like, and like I get it. Like I have about 10 friends who have it, and the funny thing is like hearing them talk about it, and they're like, I love it. I freaking love this thing. It's definitely something they shipped when it wasn't finished physically. Like it definitely,
right.
But that being said, like it's an incomplete piece of hardware, but it's one of the coolest things I've ever owned in my life.
Hell yeah, man!
Like,
and I'm not opposed to that. I'm like, absolutely. I've done it a million times myself, trying to stay on the bleeding edge of technology.
When we were at Logan, a kid behind me was back there. With a switch, and it's like da 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 da. I'm like, I'm going to end this person. I'm like, the gel is so real that I just want to end this high school kid and take his switch.
Oh man!
But he got the one with the blue and red controller, like a dummy. Like, if you like the Switch with the blue and red controller, more power to you. But man, oh man, does my OCD go a little bit crazy when I see that and goes, It's not the way it's supposed to be.
It's not. It's really not. You go all blue, all red, or gray.
I get it. I get that it's supposed to be like a player 1, player 2 thing. I get that. That's the design, but it doesn't look good. And if it's left and it's right, you're going to know which one's left and which one's right, regardless of color, because that's how things work.
Oh, that was the other hardware issue. The thing with the straps on it that you bolt on to the Joy-Con for the LNR things. Apparently, it's not super instructive as to which one applies to the left and right controller. So you have to be very careful, because once you put one on, it's on there like fucking concrete.
Woo, that sucks.
And people have ruined their controllers by sticking the wrong one on there.
That sucks.
That really sucks. But again, it's just it's just like, this is what happens when you launch too soon. This is
yeah.
All of this is,
and like, I got to be straight up honest with you. All of these things that we're talking about right now have not diminished my deep desire for one.
I know, which is so strange to me still.
But here's the thing though. I sat around thinking about it, and and I could play the "I told you so" about how awesome of a launch it was going to be, even with the thin amount of games that it had. But Nintendo did what no one else does. And I mean, even they don't do this anymore. This is the first launch in 15? How long has it been since the N64? 15 years? Was it like 1998? So like not 50, 10, 11 years. 10 or 11 years, something like that. Or 9 years. We'll just say a fucking decade. Don't fucking get on my case, guys. Leave me alone. They're going, actually, it's fucking 8 years, 14 months. Like, that's actually 9 years, 2 months, dude. What the fuck are you doing? But they released a AAA game, and not only 1996, so 11 years. We'll just give it a nice 11 years.
21 years.
21 years. Jesus. That's, oh, God. almighty do I feel not young right now.
You want to feel old real quick?
I do.
Oh, I know it.
Oh, my God.
I was going to say, you're way off on that thing, because I remember being in junior high going to friends' house because they were the first ones to have the
I just kind of want to believe, because I got mine in 1998 when I got my job, like my very first job, my very first paycheck that I got. When I got my job when I was 14 at the pizza place, my parents were like, "You're going to save 50% of your money, so that way when you're 16, you can just buy a nice car." And I'm like, "Cool, I'm totally going to do that. I'm totally into saving my money." First paycheck I got, though, I was like, how about for the first one, though, I just go out to Funko Land and I buy an N64 and GoldenEye, though.
Yo, fucking Funko Land, though. The drop.
Yeah, dude.
Woo!
That's how you know I've been gaming since been gaming. And then Neil Gaiman's like, but I've been gaming since. Quiet, Neil. Sit down. You sit down in the...
You, sir, take a seat.
You sit down in the back. But yeah, so like for the first time in 21 gaming years, we have a console launch with not only a AAA title, but a game that's going to define the system. Breath of the Wild, across the board, is being heralded as an experience that no one has had before ever. Like, it's crazy. Like, have you seen anyone other than just like, yeah, I went to this place and then I thought I was going to get some fishing in, and out of nowhere a moblin just was watching me, and then he dove out of a tree and ended my life. There's like shit.
This is what
shit goes sideways in that game.
Yeah, super sideways.
And it's just like, whoa. Or like, I was running and I was in the snow. And a lightning storm started, and I forgot that I was wearing my metal armor so I could keep my body warm, and that attracted the lightning, and I got electrocuted to death. I was a running lightning rod. I was like, that's awesome. That's so awesome.
It is. Or my favorite, the one that I was watching, where the AI had adapted like super fucking quick, and dude's just running from like two of the goblins, and he drops one bomb just right behind him, boom, blows the first one up. Goes to hoist up another bomb, drops it behind him. Second goblin stops, kicks it at Link while he's running away, and boom, game over. I'm just like, oh, there's no cheesing.
Yeah, it's like this game gets it. And then like
it learned.
And the idea of like, oh yeah, there's tons of mini dungeons everywhere. You see a mountain, go climb it. And I know everyone's gonna be like, you can go climb any mountain in Witcher 3 or in Fallout or anything. It's like, right. Yes, you can. But the sense of exploration and discovery in a game like Zelda, which is like its primary crux, is like looking for stuff.
Right.
Whereas like The Witcher 3, it's like missions, and same thing with Fallout. Like you do a mission and it brings you to a place, and then you hope you have a nice plasma rifle or like a sweet Skellige sword in a cabinet. You know, like, but this is you literally just go running around. It's like, maybe that rock over there, I could blow it up. Maybe there's like a grotto underneath and I can find like a better hook shot. Or like, you know, it's like, so like across the gaming media, like this Zelda is like insane how good it is. Like it's just blown everyone's brains out the back of their heads. And to get back to what I was originally saying about why none of the hardware issues diminish anything about how I feel, is because Zelda's so good that I just don't care. And I want to go to there. To quote Liz Lemon.
You and me both,
I want to go to there. And I see all my friends who have it, and I see them post stuff on Twitch, and I see them throw down, and I'm just... And it's not jealous the way it's like, man, Reeg is playing Resident Evil 7, and it looks really cool. I want to get in on that, so I'll probably just go get it. Like, this is one of those things where it's like, well, if I want to get it, I got to get a Switch. And people are like, well, you could get it on the Wii U. And it's like, yeah, but then I got to buy a Wii U, which I know I'm not going to play after I get the Switch. Like, I was sitting here and I was looking at my 3DS games. And I'm like, God, that's a great game. God, that's a great game. God, that's a great game. And I started thinking about how they said that, you know, like they said, we talked before is that the 3DS isn't going to get replaced by the Switch. And how I said that that's just a...
So they say.
And remember I had said, you know, a couple, 10 episodes ago, That's a bald-faced lie. Like
I do remember.
Like you don't create a console to be like the companion to the other portable gaming system. So like I was like, God, I got to get rid of my 3DS before it's worth nothing. You know, kind of like how when you trade in Madden, you want to make sure you trade it in like 4 months before the new Madden comes out, so you can at least
100%.
Because once the new Madden comes out, it goes from $15 to $3. So like. I was like,
same with Call of Duty.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like looking at my carts and I was like, man, I got to sign up for this Pokemon Bank so I can transfer all my Mons up to Pokemon Bank so I can get rid of my 3DS. Because when Pokemon Stars comes out, I'm going to be throwing down hard on my Switch and it's going to be awesome. But like, I want one so bad. I just want one.
Dude, all of the talk is contributing to my FOMO.
It's like, I want one so bad. Like even stuff like, don't play by aquariums because your signal could get all effed. Don't play next to a clock radio. And it's like, bro, who owns a clock radio in the future? And they're like, apparently enough people do.
Their responses to tech problems are laughable.
It is pretty great. And one thing that kind of made me go, huh? You can't switch your save data over to, like, it's a cart, dude. It's a cart. Why can't the save data just save on the cart? Like, why did you make it? Why did you make it that the save data saves internally and not on the cart? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, now granted, they're like, well, why do you need to transfer your save? It's a Switch. You can bring the damn thing everywhere. It's like, look, Nintendo, sure, that is correct. You are right. I shouldn't have to borrow my games to my friends or, you know, take them out and put them somewhere else because the system can do the system things everywhere in the world. Thank you very much for doing that. But why can't you save it on the cart, though? Just like...
Doesn't make any sense.
Like, sure, the things you said are true, but I don't like that as an answer. Like...
Again, it's just laughable.
It's super odd. But then, again... It's like, well, I guess I just fucking say fuck it, and I save all my games on my Switch. Fucking get a 250, 500, or 512 gig SD card. Shut up about it. Like, that's my response is like, yeah, maybe I should stop being such a little crybaby bitch about it and just shut up and suck it up and go get a Switch. But like, it's crazy. It's so crazy. That's a really awful walk-in that I tried to do right there. I apologize.
It's okay.
I apologize to everyone. What is that? You're fired, Adam. Clean out your desk. Sarah's stepping in and taking over as the you on this show, and she's still going to be on the other show. So I'm just fired, and the podcast will continue. Wouldn't be the first time I've had to leave a podcast. Jesus. Look, man, our topic list is thin today, so I mean, I'm having fun with it.
We literally mentioned the 3 things that have dominated this week. I can't remember, just to quickly sidetrack, I can't remember a single week in nerd history when we were so enamored with such a diverse group of media releases. Horizon on PlayStation, Zelda, and the Switch. And then on top of that, you got Logan.
Yeah.
I, honest to God, can't remember anything even remotely close.
Yeah, it's...
of trying to shove in all of it within the week.
The real... This is a miniature what if for this week. Or it's not really a what if, but dude, what do you think Infinity War week is going to be like? Like, because, you know, we're going to get into Logan in a second here. Spoiler alert. I really liked it, but I got some big issues with it.
It's a massive spoiler alert for Logan.
Yeah, you know, so if you haven't done the Logan thing, you know, stop listening now and come back later.
I don't know. The Infinity War thing's hard to call because we don't know a whole lot.
I mean the excitement of like it's the culmination of like 15 years.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, and you know the Russos are going to pay tribute to that.
Yeah, it's going to be big. And then when Cap and Tony die in it, it's going to be crazy.
Dude, don't do that.
It's happening. You know it's happening.
Something is going
Phase
to.
4 is going to be a completely different direction for the MCU. Yeah, because Tony's dead and so is Steve. Like, the two stalwarts of the universe are dead. And guess what? Captain America is going to die saving Iron Man's life, and Tony's not going to get to say he's sorry for being a dick during the Civil War. And Tony's going to have to live with that, and then he's going to give the ultimate sacrifice and not cut the wire and lay down on the wire to save everyone else. That's my guess.
You heard it here first.
And, shout out to Vertical Atrocity because he was running through listening to, like, the older episodes.
Oh, my God.
And he's just like, he goes, dude, they're predicting what's going to happen in Civil War, like, months before it came out. They're like, that's what we do. That's what we do sometimes.
That is.
We predict.
That's what happens when you read comic books, kids.
We predict plot points.
The source material.
We predict plot points, and we give away good ideas.
You give away good ideas.
Yeah, Reeg is like, I got all my ideas.
I'm not taking.
I got all of my good ideas in my Hello Kitty Good Ideas book written down. Yep. Secret it says keep out cool guy zone only on the cover.
Have you read? You read it. You found it.
I saw the cover, but I couldn't figure out how to unlock the heart-shaped lock on
Asshole.
it. So your idea dream journal is safe for now.
Good.
Plus, I didn't know if I was a cool enough guy for the cool guy zone. So, like, well, I mean, I don't want to break, it's cool guy law, Cool guy law is...
I could make a bylaw for you.
Cool guy law is what bros want everyone to live by. You know how the crazy alt-right are like, they're just trying to get Sharia law all over the place. Like, frats on college campuses go by cool guy law.
Oh, yeah.
So, fun facts, bad jokes. But let's get down to the meat and potatoes of it. Fucking Logan impressions review time. 3, 2, 1, contact, go. Logan.
You have. Let me go first because I don't have a lot because I'm still so fresh off of it, and I still haven't figured out a way to tactfully go through and give a kind of a critical review of a movie over my opinions, basically. But I thought it was a very well done, just closing. I think I went into it a bit differently than you did, and I went into it as a farewell to Hugh and Patrick. And no matter what happened in the movie, albeit, not putting my expectations aside, given that I've seen trailers and everything, but I went into it only looking at it as a send-off to somebody I've watched on screen for 17 fucking years, man. Like, that's a long time. And they finally got it right in most ways. Obviously, there are some flaws, but they weren't enough for me to look past the greatness of it. So all the damn feels, loved it up and down. I didn't even pay attention to any of what you and I have talked about of what you didn't like. And all around, honest to God, just thought it was really good. But you know me, and you. Anybody can call me a simpleton or whatever, but I've said it on this podcast a million damn times. All you have to do is get my attention and keep me entertained. And I will look past anything in a movie, damn near anything, other than giant plot holes. But that's all you got to do. And it did it exceedingly well. So it hit every note for me. I loved it. And that's all I got to say about it.
Well, I got a lot more to say about that.
I know you.
I have lots and lots and lots.
I mean, I have things to say about what you have to say.
And that's going to be a lot of fun to talk about it. But in a 3-act structure of a story, this is an incredibly well constructed acts 1 and 2. It's a very tight knit movie, and oddly enough, the first 2 acts are incredibly great, are the 2 acts that contain Patrick Stewart, because as we had said previously, if you're still listening now, we're in spoiler territory, Patrick Stewart gets killed. And the movie actually loses half of its...
Well, Patrick Stewart doesn't get killed.
He does. They kill Patrick Stewart.
They,
Literally, he's dead now.
they didn't tell you.
But when he dies, like, the heart and soul of the movie leaves it. Like, that farmhouse is where the emotional crux of the movie ends. And it just becomes fury after that. And not even particularly great fury. It's kind of like also ran Rubber Meets the Road X-Men bullshit. Like, it's everything that sucks about Origins, and it's everything that sucks about the Wolverine coming to home to roost. And I know that you loved it start to finish about all of that, but here's the things that I loved. Hugh Jackman obviously crushes it as Wolverine. He's great in it. He's drunk and he's tired and he's old and he's weak, but he can still go when he has to, which is kind of dope, you know, to see that version of Wolverine.
Oh, absolutely.
Patrick Stewart just kills as Xavier, and it's sad. Like,
It is.
It's sad. Like, the best parts of the movie are Patrick Stewart's stuff. And without a doubt, it's a send-off for Hugh Jackman, because Patrick Stewart has said he would be Xavier again if they have a spot for him in Deadpool. He would do it. He said he would do it in a heartbeat. But he's done otherwise. But
Right.
like, seeing him roll around in an electric wheelchair screaming about, like, chicken and steak chalupas at Taco Bell.
Oh, my God.
Like, he just comes out swinging, and it's great. And just like, don't leave me with that fucking albino. And it's just like, he's like a crotchety old man who's like, you know, he's losing it. And there's just these kind of beautiful moments where you kind of get little, like, tertiary pieces of, like, what's going on with Xavier. And it's that he's, you know, Alzheimer's is setting in, and he's basically, you know, slipping into senility. But, like, you get, like, Boyd Holbrook being like, so what's he, heard his brain's classified as a weapon of mass destruction now. And then later on, the dude from the science place.
Yeah, Dr.
Yeah,
Rice.
he shows up and he's just like, a weapon, like a brain of that size on a man who's losing his grasp on reality, isn't that quite dangerous, you know? And then you find out
ALS and Alzheimer's.
Yeah, and you find out that, you know, the X-Men were all killed and destroyed, not by Sentinels, not by Magneto, not by some amazing threat from beyond the stars that the X-Men just couldn't overcome. They were killed because Xavier's brain is going, and it caused him to have a seizure, which triggered his powers, and he murdered all the X-Men except for Wolverine.
All is a exact
Well,
seven.
the X-Men that
We don't know who or
I mean,
where
there
or
were
what. I'm just saying.
600 people that were injured.
I'm just being a stickler.
600 people were injured, and the 7 people living at the mansion. And I'm assuming, because he's old, the school isn't a school anymore. It's just a mansion. The remaining X-Men who are the X-Men are all dead because of Xavier. And how sad is that to live with the fact that you killed your own dream on accident?
Yeah.
So it's like that's awesome. Daphne, the gal who plays Laura X-23, is fantastic for the most part. The problems I have with her come from writing later on. But like they just go so sideways fucky about why things are happening the way they happen. And it's like the Reavers are all kind of dumb. The Reavers don't ever feel like
they're super
the Reavers
dumb.
don't ever feel like a threat. They just feel like guys there to get their arms and legs chopped off and fucked up and stabbed in the head and shit. Like they're whatevers.
Yeah, they're the thugs.
And like the X-24 clone of Wolverine also feels very X-Men Origins Deadpool-ish. It's just kind of like, really? They just made a grown-up clone of him so that way Hugh can look super young at part of it so we can see Wolverine going nuts as a young man too? That's kind of dumb. It would have been cooler if they, you know, had like an Omega Red or something worth bringing to the table.
I so thought that's where they were going.
Cloning a Wolverine is fucking stupid. Like, now they're like, but what do you like X-23? It's like, that's different because, you know, it's a totally different character and different set of claws, and there's differences between Laura and Logan. But like, that's my first like story problems of like, evil Wolverine shows up and kills everybody, and then it's like evil Wolverine gets beat, but evil Wolverine's gonna come back for that final showdown because that's what's gonna happen, because it's gonna be old Wolverine versus young Wolverine. Fight your demons, Wolverine. cool concept. And it's just like, fucking dumb. All right, movie. Don't you fucking get me with more fucking dumb shit. Because I'm going to get real mad if you fucking dumb me again. Hey, you're really sick. He gets brought to the doctor after getting fucked up by young Wolverine. You're really sick. You got to go to the hospital. They got to find out what's wrong with you. I know what's wrong with me. The adamantium has suddenly started to poison his body. What are you doing?
Was it suddenly?
I'm recording in here.
To my knowledge. Oh.
Just Mar just comes in and starts crushing rappers all over the place.
Yes, just an intentional sabotaging of the.
Just what are you doing?
Just empty bag.
Like my brain is just like I was like, what is even happening right now? But yeah,
is there anything in there? Even are you eating or are you just crunching the bag?
Yes, it's all of a sudden. Yes, it's all of a sudden. I mean, in the context of that universe, it could have been happening for years. But the thing is, this is the problem with these type of stories. If James Mangold is like picking and choosing which fruits he's pulling from the X-Men universe to call as canon in this Logan movie, because he's just picking and choosing at this point. But in his world, X-Men Origins takes place with Sabretooth, because there's originally. Liev Schreiber was written into the movie as like the guy who operates the Underground Mutant Railroad, because Sabretooth has like a resurrection moment later and becomes a good guy or whatever in the script. So the problem that I have with this is he's being poisoned by adamantium. Okay? He was born in 1700s. He's lived through all of this stuff just fine. It's 2029, right? And as far as the other X-Men storylines go, he wakes up in like 2013 with the newly rebuilt, refixed badass storyline, and in 19 years, the adamantium decides to poison him, and his healing factor just goes to shit. And that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense as to why that would happen. Like, you could literally make the argument. You could make the argument that he's been alive for 500 plus years. The body breaks down regardless over time, and no matter how good you are at healing, eventually your cells can't hold on anymore, and you're fucking falling apart, and years of abuse are starting to show up because you can't hold on to life forever. Like, that would be a great concept for an old man Logan, is that it's like, yeah, dude, you're finally dying. You're finally feeling what it feels like. But instead, it's this half-assed, like, your skeleton, the thing that made you unkillable, is killing you. And it's like, that's so ham-fisty fuckboy film school bullshit. Like, that's something that someone in, like, first year film school writes when they're like, oh, it's so edgy. Like, that's on the lines of, like, you know what would be really cool is if one day every year they made all crime legal. Like that, it's like that kind of like garbage. Like it's that bad of a story concept where it's like, dude, adamantium poisoning his body? Do you even give a fuck about the character? Do you even care about him? Because like that's so far out of who he is. It just doesn't make any sense. So you're telling me if Magneto just ripped it from his bones, he'd just go on living, keeping on forever? Because I don't like that as an idea. I hate that.
Well, to interject, there was a point in the comic books where it was poisoning his body, and once Magneto ripped it out, his regenerative skills were so much quicker, and his body just was damn near unkillable, like period.
When the adamantium got pulled out of his body, actually it burned out his healing factor for 3 years. Like
once he got back to normal with the bone claws and shit, what they found was his healing factor had sped like significantly because it wasn't being poisoned by the adamantium.
I don't think he's ever been poisoned by the metal. I don't think that's ever been a thing.
I think it has.
I don't think that's I think maybe in like when the High Evolutionary stripped mutants of powers like way back in like Uncanny X-Men like number 99 in the like late 70s early 80s it was a thing. But I just don't think that that's even remotely a good idea. Like even if it were like poisonous, what you're telling me is that adamantium is doing what carbonadium does. And that's not right. Right? Because if it's fucking up his healing factor and ruining him, that's what carbonadium does. Like, that's a whole thing that's in the X-Men universe and lexicon that could be used. Like, how nice would that have been to, like, just have them use carbonadium to fuck him up? Like, the Reavers have carbonadium and mess him up and take him out and stunt his healing factor. Just like wishy-washy smashing it together to make it a thing that poisoned him is so dumb. Because he can't be poisoned. Like, his fucking healing factor wards anything off. Like, that's how that is. And it just doesn't.
Quick interjection. You're spot on with the X-Men 99.
Yeah, it's like that's.
I pulled up a comic vine of somebody who felt very much the same way you do. But somebody had interjected and said, adamantium has been stated to be poisonous many times in canon. Wolverine was dying from adamantium poisoning when the High Evolutionaries stripped all mutants of their powers in X-Men number 99.
Look at that, I fucking nailed that shit.
Nailed it.
Nailed that shit. But I don't agree with that idea, and obviously, if it's been shown in the comics once, but I don't think there's anything outside of that, because then it doesn't make any sense about like Cyber died, or why Sabretooth didn't get sick when he had adamantium like fingers, or why it's a bad plot point. It's a bad thing to hang your hat on. It really is. It's a terrible thing to hang the hat, like, especially when there's way better things to go with. Like the idea I came up with is better than what they had, and I came up with it in 5 minutes. Like, it's like that's if your plot point can be beaten by a better written plot point in under 10 minutes, your plot point's not good. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that I'm like the great writer, because I thought overall the characterization of that movie is actually really great until the third act. So it's just, I think Wolverine's really, really great. I hate this adamantium poisoning bullshit idea. I really don't like the force feeding the movie Shane down our throat a bunch of times. Because it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, and everyone has their ideas about Shane. If you've ever seen the Western Shane, and if you've seen Logan, it's the part where it's like, you gotta stay here, Shane. He's like, I gotta go, Billy. A man can't not be what he is. I gotta go. Tell him the valley's safe now. And he rides away. And the whole thing with Shane is not that he can't stay, like he tells the boy. It's because, and this is all film theory, because it's never been proven, but Shane was mortally wounded in that final battle, and he's riding off because he's bleeding to death, and he doesn't want the little boy to see him dead, is basically what's happening. And so, like, they play this whole... Yeah, and they play this whole angle, because that's like the whole thing is like Shane's riding off into the sunset, and you see his body kind of like flailing around like it's a corpse on the back of a horse at that point. And so it's like it's implied that he dies, which when you think about that and what they do with Wolverine, it's like fucking A, guys, no. Like don't do that. That's so lame. Like that's so lame. Like it's a great metaphor, and you guys would have nailed it without trying to let me know how clever you are that you saw Westerns before. Like, ugh, yuck, it's so whack. And I really hate heavy-handed metaphors. Like, if you followed me here from Horror Show Hot Dog when I hosted that, you know how mad I get at ham-fisted stuff, which is kind of funny considering I'm a relatively hammy human being in general. But in my films, I don't like when a metaphor is thoroughly pounded into the ground like a railroad spike. And when Wolverine does in fact die, which is actually quite beautiful, with him impaled on the tree and dead, and they bury him, and they make a makeshift. Makeshift fucking cross, and then they redo the whole speech from Shane, barf, and then after it's all done, all of the fucking who gives a shits and who gives a fuck mutant kids walk away with their dumb whatevers, because like they're dumb. Those kids are all dumb. The Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome portion of this movie blows. Then Laura takes the crucifix, turns it on its side to be an X, because he was an X-Man and a movie.
You're fucking right.
Dumb. So dumb.
Wrong.
Just
wrong.
Why is that the right move? That's a stupid ass fourth wall break. That's a stupid.
I can't tell you why it's the right move, but I can tell you that it hit me emotionally.
It's a.
I don't give a fuck about correct
man,
moves or not. I'm the guy who watched it. And it hit me, along with a lot of other people.
It's a cheap heat moment. If I want to go with the pro wrestling thing analogy, like it's so fucking cheap, and it's just like such a weak pull on your heartstring. Like, it's such a weak pull on the heartstrings. Hi, bud. It just doesn't. Hi, Flinny. It just doesn't work. Like, I gotta keep it PG while he's here because I'm gonna go off in a second, and I don't want to go off on a tirade around my son. So I'm stalling until he grabs the toys that he wants to grab out of my office and then leaves.
Give me some editing work tonight.
Oh no, leave it in. Leave it in. Leave it all in. Leave Mara's wrappers. Leave Flynn coming in here. Leave all of it in.
All right.
Leave all of it in. The fans will appreciate that I'm a real human being.
Right.
All right.
Real dad.
I lost my place. I got to circle back and fucking obliterate this thing. Like, I get that it plays to your heartstrings, but the thing is that it's unwarranted from character standpoint. It doesn't make any sense. Like, the only argument you can make is that, well, she read the X-Men comic books and he was an X-Men, so she turned the cross on its side to be an X. Or it's a fourth wall break and it's like, well, Wolverine's dead. The last X-Men is in the ground. This is the end of a legacy. And let us nod and wink to the fucking camera. And it's like, dude, come on, Mangold. Like, you want to convince me that the Wolverine was an anomaly of why it was so bad? Don't do things like that. Because what happens is the third act is so uneven and weak. It's just like running. It's the forest sequence from X-Men 3 with limbs getting cut off is all it is.
I will agree with you there.
That's all the third act is, and then it's a bunch of really heavy-handed.
Except Berserker mode.
But it's not even Berserker mode. It's pretty for a Berserker mode. It's pretty weak because the juice lasts like 2 seconds. Like the roids last like 2 seconds, and even then it's not like he's not berserking. He's just kind of like running around slashing at people. He's more Berserker mode when he decides that he's going to display all the ways you can put adamantium claws through people's heads in Vegas. Like,
because that was
because
fantastic.
that part was super dope, super duper dope.
Oh my god! All the ways you can put claws through heads.
I'm not going to tell you don't feel the way you want to feel about how that works, because that is a moment that is specifically designed to play to that. But like, as a dude who writes stories and believes in great storytelling, that's such a ham-fisty fucking lame way to do that. Like, it would have just been kind of beautiful if instead of turning the crucifix or even having a crucifix at all, because who cares about having that there? It would have been really dope if what would have happened is if somewhere down the line when her and Wolverine are bonding, if she got a hold of the Logan dog tag and she left the comic book in the dog tag on top of his grave instead of turning a fucking crucifix to an X, that would have been beautiful closure.
See, that just, again, to where I had stated that I think we approach this movie differently. Mm-hmm. To me, that stays within the movie and doesn't give the viewer a true end to goodbye,
but
Hugh. Like, thank you for 17 years as Wolverine.
I don't mean to.
And I think that's where it may detach itself a little bit from the story, and it does this thing that you're talking about.
I feel like that's wrong, though. Like, it's wrong for the type of movie that it is. Like, I absolutely think you should have the goodbye Hugh moment. I definitely feel like that's something you should have, but I feel like that's something you can have on Twitter with Hugh Jackman. You know, you can have like a thing that they put out online that's like the 17-year retrospective goodbye,
sure, which they've done.
You know, but like
with the legacy thing,
like a movie of this magnitude and this profound sadness deserves, and it really requires the respect to craft it as a contained tale, and to let it spill out in a Deadpool style fourth wall break is, one, disrespectful to the story, two, disrespectful to Hugh Jackman's final beautiful performance, and 3, disrespectful to Patrick Stewart's beautiful final performance, Professor Xavier as well. Like I don't want to sound like some kind of like weepy crybaby about like why the story. Like I just feel like for something that's so contained and so tightly wound, to let it just spill over the edges at the end because it's a good thing to do for the fans is kind of lame, because you could have achieved that same beautiful moment and kept it in universe. Like, tell me you don't think that, like, when she's driving the car and he's super hurt and he can't heal and he's laying in her lap while she's driving, you know? Like, there wouldn't be like a moment where she sees that, oh, he was created too. Those dog tags are a symbol of a bond they share. She was created in a lab. He was created in a lab. I have a moment of understanding with you now. He gives her the dog tags because he knows he's going down eventually. She has the comic book. And then when it finally all the dust clears and they're at the funeral and they don't do some dumb pseudo-religious thing and they don't make it a lame-ass turn of an X, she lays down the dog tag and she lays down the comic book. You could even keep the chain thing of you can't escape who you are. But she leaves the dog tags that he's a monster, and she leaves that he was an X.
You mean don't be what they made you.
Like leaves both of those things there, and it's like, you are who you are. These things are who you are. I'm going to go be who I am and protect my friends. Thank you. Like, that kind of moment is really beautiful and in universe and more powerful, I think, personally. Like, if you disagree, I'm totally. And this is for this is for everybody. Like, if you disagree, please voice your personal concern about it. But I think that, like I said, like moments ago, like when there's plot points that can be deconstructed and beat with better plot points with minimal time thinking about it, like this movie took like 2 years to write, and really talented guys, dudes who get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to write this stuff, come up with this stuff. And I don't think that like the path of least resistance should always be the course taken on things like that. Because I really do feel like, how beautiful would it be to see like a pile of rocks, with like the warrior's grave with the dog tag that says Logan on it. And that's the last frame of the picture instead of like a cross and some rubble as she walks away. Like, that would have been sick, right? Or even if the cross stayed and had the dog tag hanging from it.
Yeah, I'm fine with any of those.
So
honestly.
I'm just like,
I just the X was awesome,
and that's fine. It's just,
and I'm sure the others would have been just as.
I'm just saying that.
I personally don't see the difference.
Well, the thing is like, one keeps it in universe and respects the story they're telling, and respects you as an audience member. Like, the other one doesn't. The other one's like wink, wink, nod, nod. X-Men, right? X-Men.
And that's just where I'm still a little. I don't understand where it's out.
Well,
of
it's
universe.
out of universe because when a character does something that doesn't make any sense as to why they would why would she do that in the universe?
Because throughout the entire second half of the movie, she's learned that that's who she is made from.
But turning the X is something for the viewers to see, that the X-Men, like, it's a visual.
And she's read you said it. She's read the comic books.
But the thing is that she's shown no attempts at like respect for the Wolverine, nor does her characterization make her make her be sentimental about anything.
So wouldn't it take a moment of utter disbelief and the most catastrophic of moments to have a character change?
I don't think that that's the change that you would see, though, because I feel like that's just it's just so lame. It's just like, it's such a lame maneuver. Like, it's just so dumb. Like, I think it's like profoundly dumb as like a character move. Like, it's done solely to frame up a shot of a grave to show you that a cross can be an X too, and that's like, it's just so writer's room where it's like, yeah, do that. And it's just kind of like, man.
So 2 things I've taken away from this discussion, other than Wolverine and stuff related to X-Men, is that you hate film school and writers.
No, I love writers, and I love writers. Like, I don't.
I'm just saying, it sounds like you got a little chip on your shoulder.
I have a chip on my shoulder about piss poor writing, and I don't like people applauding shit writing as good writing. Because that's like, it's the same thing like when we were talking about Legion, where it's like idea vomit. People think it's arty, but it's actually fucking easy and lazy. Like, what they did with turning a crucifix into an X is fucking lazy. And it doesn't respect me as an audience member, as somebody who spent 17 years with Hugh fucking Jackman through thick and thin, through 2 awful Wolverine movies and a third mostly great one. And that's why it pisses me off, is that it doesn't respect the legacy. It's lazy. It's the lazy way to show respect to him. Like, I feel like he deserves more. I feel like there's a great cinematic moment there, like one that could stand on the shoulders of giants for the rest of comic book movies to see from the valleys, man. Like,
sure. So what about the people who've never seen an X-Men movie though and only go to see Logan?
I mean, they're still going to get the emotional power of a really well-crafted scene. Like, if I'm supposed to say that you should do the lazy thing because people who don't care won't.
No, and so this is where hang on. Let me rephrase to the basis of my question. There is that as a designer, as the way you're describing this, I look at this as not lazy, but instead all options were weighed, and sometimes minimalism, the most simplest option, is the best option.
I don't think that's how it works in writing, though. Like, I feel like in design.
Sure, I'm not saying it does. I'm just looking at the scene specifically and relating it to that type of mentality. I
absolutely can understand that as a conceptual idea for, like, looking at it through a design perspective. But this is a movie that's built on complex narrative, right? It's a complex characterization piece. To be at the end, be like, you know what? We should do the laziest, easiest thing, even though the whole movie we haven't done that at all once.
That's fair. Great counterpoint.
You don't limp to the finish line. You run through that bad boy and say goodbye. So, like, I mean, I don't like to be angry about it, but, like, it happens so often where, like, a great movie just whimpers out and just goes to garbage in the third act. And now that could be studio. Like, I mean, I don't know what happened. That could be studio meddling. That could be all sorts of, like, Fox is like, we gotta fucking do the Crucifix X thing because, like, I mean, come on, guys, they're fucking the same shape, right? So it's like that could totally be the thing that happens. But, like, it just feels like James Mangold was in such a beautiful place with this movie, and he wanted to George Miller this fucking thing. He wanted to put it out in black and white. Like, this movie was like a noir, gritty, grimy character piece with the beauty and the sadness. And so, like, to do the laziest, easiest route of, like, turning that cross into the X doesn't play to the beauty or the sadness. It just seems like the movie wants to get me out of the theater, so it shows me a thing in 30 seconds that should have been a few minutes and gave me my closure. And so, because the very first thing we see with Wolverine outside of the cage when he's fighting is he tucks his dog tags in. It would have been dope to see the dog tags be the end. The book ends for our 17-year journey with them. So, I don't know. But again, everyone is entitled to their feelings. My feelings are very large when it comes to things like that, because the thing is, when things move me, it's important. Like, imagine if Train to Busan ended not with him imagining touching his daughter's feet, but it ended with him thinking of his daughter smiling at him. Sure, those things both tug at your heartstrings. One of them sucks, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like with X-Men, because you're absolutely right. The turning the cross into an X is a very good way to end something. It's just not a good way to end Logan. If you're ending,
I can dig the way you phrased that. Then I can.
It's just I don't like when a movie disrespects me, because it's something that, like, the character's fucking important to me. I have claw spacers tattooed on my fucking hands. Like, like, the character's been important to me my whole life. And it was great to see him to get right, and then to have, like, a moment be like, oh man, because I straight up I openly started laughing in the theater at that part. I laughed. I just laughed.
Damn, you must have got side-eyed like a motherfucker. I'm a big dude.
Nobody likes to side-eye me. Like,
it's the point of a side-eye, though.
I mean, dude, I've got some pretty killer periph vision here. But, like, the thing is like, hushed whispers after I pass, sure, that's something that'll happen. But, like, I just laughed. Because it's just, it just doesn't work for me as a guy who's seen the emotional journey of that character.
It's so weird when you say that though, because I'm like, you laughed, I cried.
Hey, and you know that, I mean, that's the thing is like, if that's what plays to you, then fucking bangarang, dude, get down. It's just like, stories are important to me, you know? And in emotional moments, you can make those up all the time. You can make an emotional moment out of a lot of stuff. But like saying like the Train to Busan example, like there's a reason I cried, and it's because like him touching his daughter's feet is something that new parents do instinctively. It's just kind of a thing that you do, and you admire, like they're tiny and they're like, wow, this is crazy. This is insane. This is a little person. This is like me. There's a piece of heart there that matters. And like to do it with a thing that is universal, or it's just kind of like, because turning the crucifix to an X isn't something that you do because Logan died. You could do it because any X-Men died. But leaving the Logan dog tags in the comic with Wolverine on the cover and having a moment alone after all the kids have walked away between father and daughter, that's something only Logan can have. Like, I could see the crucifix turned into an X when or when Colossus dies in Deadpool 3, or when Kitty Pryde dies in X-Men 20. Like that's an interchangeable beat. You know what I'm saying? But not to say that the emotional impactfulness doesn't work. I'm just saying that there is a better way to go about conveying those emotions that respect the storytelling that you've done and respect the audience and respect the character. And I don't think that that's what that one was. Not to say that to try and invalidate anyone's emotions about, you know, crying when that happened, because if that's what hits you, that's what hits you, and that's totally fine. That's 100% A-okay.
Well, yeah, let's be real. The first one that hit me is the when he's still impaled and says, "Is this what it feels like?" And then grabs her hand. Then I start getting teary, and it plays out, and they do the whole burial thing, and then she turned the cross into the X, and I fucking lost it.
Sure, I mean, that's totally fine, you know.
Like, they had me, and I was like holding it back, and then it was like, release the floodgates.
I can see that. It's just, you know, I guess it's just a matter.
But again, to my point of like where I say like I'm not, you know, you call me a simpleton.
It's not a matter of trying to like.
I was engaged.
It's not a matter of trying to insult people. It's not trying to be like you're. It's not like your brain's too stupid to get the gravity of the situation.
Well, which mine is not. I'll fucking argue that up and down. Like, it's not. I but unfortunately, there is a thing with me and movies and TV shows. I like some really dumb shit. I like a lot of shit that a lot of people don't like. Or I like a lot of shit that a lot of people break down technically into things that I otherwise wouldn't have noticed, such as this. And I just, like I said, I was engaged. They had me. They had all of me. Throughout that entire moment, and never once did I even question any of it. So, thus the emotions and the feelings and all of it. So, if I knew anything about, or if I analyzed stories such in the way that you do, I probably would have done the same damn thing. And let's not get it twisted. It's not like I don't in some points. Like we were talking about before the podcast, biggest plot hole in the fucking movie is how the fuck did they find the place where the kids are?
Without
you telling me she just followed longitude and latitude in that Jeep and drove them there 2 days with what? Following the fucking sun and moon? Stars? North Star? What'd she do? Like, what? Mm-hmm. You know, so it's not like I can't see those things. But as long as you keep me entertained, I'm in, and I don't give a shit how it does it. But
right on, and that's valid.
You know,
but like, you know, in the crucifix thing, that's not a, you know, obviously it's not a plot hole thing. It's not a structurally unsound idea. It just it's not my type of brandy. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, as a story beat, as someone who's super passionate about the way stories work, I felt like that the characters deserved more than they got, and it angered me that they didn't get what I felt they deserved. And that's probably the best way to close that particular
And that is a fair argument, sir.
Close that section. But as always, I had tons of problems with the third act. I have a lot of problems with third acts in most movies, but like the first two acts are something very special. I will go ahead and say that for comparative sake for all the other folks out there, because this isn't my comparison that I'd make. But I would say that for most people, the first two acts of Logan are as good, if not better, than The Dark Knight's first two acts. And that's and I don't care for The Dark Knight personally, so this is my thoughts for other people. Because I definitely, villain wise, it's not, because it's impossible to beat Heath Ledger. But storyline wise, and hero wise, and supporting cast wise, oh yeah. But the third act kind of falls a little flat for me, and the third act in Dark Knight sucks.
Which brings up a good point. Now that I think about it, though, is the main villain his own self?
The movie is, the whole thing is you can't run from who you are,
right?
And like that's another problem I have.
Because I'm like, even though they brought out nasty young Wolverine, wasn't like the big bad.
But
nor was Dr. Rice. But nor were the Reavers.
He's the physical personification of you being your own worst enemy, and like stuff like that makes me retch for sure. Because it's just kind of like Wolverine's his own worst enemy. I'm like, yeah, he sure is. We should make him fight a clone of himself to really show that he's his own worst enemy. It's like
visual metaphor.
You can do that without going the literal visual metaphor route of, the whole movie is about you being the thing that destroys the things you care about.
Right.
Xavier and Logan both have that exact same thing. Even Caliban. Caliban worked for people to find mutants to hurt them, and then is trying to get redemption, and then in the end, kind of has to kill himself to get out of it.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of stuff. But overall, I would say, despite how angry I am about parts of Logan, it is absolutely a must-see. And you should see it in the theater. And I can't fucking wait for the fact that the Blu-ray is going to have
a black and white cut.
A black and white cut to it, because I would love to see that movie in black and white and more somber and more sad. So let us know what you thought about it. If you haven't seen it, I really hope you haven't listened to this whole rigmarole. So that's going to be a bummer for you guys.
Super bummer.
Attached to Logan was a Deadpool 2 teaser, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's on the internet now.
I didn't think it was that funny.
I didn't think it was that funny either. I thought Nathan Summers coming soon on the phone booth was great.
What's with the Firefly posters in the background, too?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I also really liked the, "Can it, Stan Lee?" That was telling him to just shut up real quick. Felt pretty good.
That was good.
But overall, it's kind of like, oh, sure.
Yep.
Yep. Right on. But one more little quick thing. I'm assuming you saw this. I don't know how you feel about it. But Iron Fist isn't wearing the costume in the show.
No, we knew that, I thought.
Oh, I didn't know that until now. I thought he'd get it by the end of it.
It wasn't confirmed, but a while ago.
I didn't think he'd get giant coiffed neck roll. I thought he'd get something similar in the scope and scale. I thought he'd at least be wearing a yellow bandana over his head. But we're not getting it at all, which kind of, I'm sad, but I'm not a crucifix as an ex angry.
And we only got 10 days?
Yeah. Yep 10 days. 10 days and it's here. And then, then we're going to go in and we're going to discuss this Iron Fist thing. And then in the end of Iron Fist, when one of the people from Keon Lund dies, and there's a tombstone, and Iron Fist punches it, and it's a fist, and that's the end of the season.
You reached on that. You Reed Richards reaching just.
Oh God, it's so bad. But before we get to our what if today, Reeg goes around the internet. He scoops up the tidbits. He sifts them out. He puts them in a nice cigar case, and then he sells them to you on the street corner in a section we like to call the Reeg Report. Take it away, Reeg.
I do that, and I make zero profit from it. So this is all for you guys. It's been a light week, as we said at the beginning of the podcast. We've had 3 major releases this week, this past week, which have taken up primarily the majority of the news. But there's 2 items on the Reeg Report this week. The 2 items that I do have are video game related. So number 1 being that, as we talked about, or as I mentioned last week, it was looking like Doomfist was going to be Overwatch's new character. But as of late last week and right after the podcast, it was announced that Orisa is Overwatch's new character and is a new tank type character whose skills are like some side barriers, and I don't even know what the main weapon is. I'd have to go back and look it up. But
the fusion cannon.
Fusion cannon, there we go.
She's out there and she's just thrashing the PTR.
Yeah,
just
is that what's
thrashing
going on?
it. Yeah.
So to the point of the PTR, and that's this item of the Reeg Report, is that it looks like Orisa is going to be staying on the PTR for a little bit longer than normal. This one comes through from Andy Chalk over at PC Gamer, and it says it's been almost a week since the new Overwatch tank Orisa was introduced to the world, but if you've been holding your breath waiting for her to go into the full release, you might want to exhale. Game director Jeff Kaplan said in a recent Battle.net forum post that Blizzard plans to keep the character on the PTR a little longer than usual. Quote, just to clarify, we're leaving Orisa on the PTR for a little while. We're getting great feedback and fixing a lot of issues, Kaplan wrote. I know this feels a little longer than other PTR periods, but we think it will be for the better. We know how anxious you all are to have Orisa join your ranks, and she will soon. But most likely she will go live later in the month rather than this early. End quote. Orisa was actually one of several heroes who underwent tweaks on the PTR last night, and that was referring to a 3-4 post. Or no, this was today. So that was last night, actually. So Orisa was actually one of several heroes who underwent tweaks on the PTR last night that saw her Fusion Driver magazine capacity reduced from 200 to 150, and the cost of her supercharger ultimately increased by 15%. Players are obviously anxious for her to go fully live, but who knows when that's actually going to happen. And from what I'm reading, it sounds like consoles are going to have to wait even longer than when she's released to the PC crowd. So that should be interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna. She's just absolutely crushing the PTR.
Like, is it bad?
Yeah, she's got mini Zarya moves. She's just, she's out here just laying waste to everybody.
Yeah, I guess that to the point of why she's going to be staying on the PTR a little while longer.
Yup.
Can't have everybody out there just taking up Orisa.
Well, I guess I better get Orisa before she gets selected.
Right.
It's basically the maneuver now. It's like, oh, well, goddamn.
Yeah.
I wanted to play as Orisa.
But I want to play as Orisa.
I like her.
Too bad. Yeah, quick little side note. Looks like here's a half a Reeg Report item for you. As I had just read before we hopped on to record here, that a lot of players, it looks like, are abusing the custom game modes to farm XP.
Really?
Yeah. Obviously, it doesn't contribute to any competitive player XP or rank or anything, but them loot boxes be coming in heavy when you get them levels.
That's true.
So
you be getting them looty bees, as I like to call them.
Looty bees.
I like to call them looty bees. That's my thing.
Yeah.
That's who I am.
On to item number 2. And Bungie has outlined what will carry over into Destiny 2. In a post on the Bungie.net forums, the game lead? No, the Destiny dev team had posted, hey everyone, planning to reveal the final live event of the Destiny 1 era next Wednesday. That would be tomorrow for you guys listening, or today, sorry, for you guys listening as we release this. Bungie, we are calling it Age of Triumph, and we intend for it to be a fun and memorable celebration that will bring the first major chapter of our Destiny adventures to a fitting close. We'll look back upon the 3 incredible years that we've shared as a community and look ahead to some final challenges, and rewards that await you in the weeks ahead. But first, we want to answer some important questions you've been asking about Destiny's first full sequel. Sequels represent the start of a new adventure for every player, with new worlds to explore, new stories to tell, new powers to acquire, new loot to earn, and much more. This led us to a decision that would enable us to serve both the game and the player's best interests. Destiny 1 power, possessions, and Eververse-related items and currency will not carry forward. They will, however, remain accessible to you in Destiny 1. We know that just like us, you have grown fond of the Guardians you've created, so we do plan to preserve your character personalization. We're going to recognize the dedication and passion you've shown for this world, specifically the class, race, gender, face, hair, and marking selections for all characters that have achieved level 20 and completed the Black Garden story mission will carry forward. We also plan to award those veteran accounts with honors that reflect your Destiny 1 accomplishments. We believe this is the best path forward. It allows us to introduce the major advancements and improvements that all of us expect from a sequel. Ensuing, it will be the best game we can create, unencumbered by the past. We're looking forward to sharing more details with you later this year for how we will honor your legacy in the future. I think I want to say a little bit more about Age of Triumph and put a little teaser video in there. And it looks like part of that content release is going to be going back to Destiny's first raid in the Vault of Glass. So we will find out more today. Nice. Tomorrow, but today when you guys are listening to this.
Today,
tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
In the future.
It is tough. It's tough for all of us in the future.
In
the future.
Is. But yeah.
In the future.
Yeah.
All right, well, to close out the podcast this week, we're going to do a what if. And the what if today is, what if Fox has found their market? Like what does it mean for like the X-Men going forward? What does it mean for Deadpool? What does it mean for the properties that Fox has a hold of? Like, does it mean that, like, clearly Wolverine or Logan and Deadpool worked at R, so New Mutants is now an R, and X-Men's going to get an R, so you're going to see Phoenix melt somebody with some flames, or you'll see Scott blow someone into mist with optic beams?
Scott's dead.
Scott is not dead.
Oh, wait, Scott's not... Oh, God damn it.
Timelines. Timelines. Here's my hot take. Here's my hot take, because that's all I do is hot takes. I don't think
with
Fox.
The Fuego take.
I don't think Fox has found their market. I feel like people have just know that these two characters both really benefit from being these visceral monsters and blowing people away and slashing their heads off and stabbing them through the jaws and stuff and being that visceral. Like, I don't know if Fox, if the next X-Men Supernova, the Dark Phoenix saga again, is going to bring it, because I just don't have enough faith in the X-Men franchise anymore to think that they have found their market. I'd be very happy if they did. I mean, am I just being like a cynical jerk here for being like, look, Deadpool and Wolverine are like self-contained entities. You guys are bad. X-Men Apocalypse is the worst movie of the year.
You're not being a jerk. I was literally going to follow you up with I concur 100% because also what other characters have they done? Fantastic Four botched it. They're not R-rated by any means.
Get an R-rated Fantastic Four where Reed Richards just says fuck all the time.
Just every other word.
I'm fucking doing fucking science in here now. Fucking kiss me, Sue, you fucking whore bitch. Like, whoa, like, why is Reed even worse than he's ever been? Just making him all...
Maybe if it was, Ultimate Universe Reed.
Everyone just swears all the time, like things like, it's fucking clobbering time. Fucking flame on. I'm fucking invisible. I'm fucking Doctor Doom. You know, I'll tell you the truth. I would see that movie like, wow, this.
I'd totally go see that.
This movie is a train wreck. Why? Who wrote this? And they're like, 4chan wrote this.
But no, you're spot on, dude. The two characters that we've seen it work with are self-contained, and their comic books are very mature rated. If Fox doesn't own any other properties that fit that category. I just saw before we started the podcast that Deadpool will be a part of the X-Force movie. And that's the only one that I see going R. But again, it's self-contained. I mean, I should say depends on which X-Force we're talking about, but.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming X-Force, like the mutant hit squad. Like, that's obviously an R.
Right,
you know?
And that's what they are. So they do the jobs that the X-Men are not so keen to take, you know?
It means they kill. That means they kill people.
That's what that means in short, yes.
It means they're the good guys who murder.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I love the what if, though, because what other properties do we know that Fox currently still has rights to?
I mean, it's mutants. It's all mutants.
So it's pure mutants. So
yeah, it's X-Men universe
and
only
what
because
we know that they're putting movies out about are what? New Mutants, X-Force,
X-Men,
Deadpool, which X-Men won't be R-rated.
Right.
There's no way.
It won't happen.
So X-Force, I would say, I'm willing to bet they're a little more lenient with it, probably.
Mm-hmm. Well, after two mega successes, number one at the box office, crushing financial gains, all those kind of things. Like, looking at it from the complete what if perspective, like, what if they did find their market? Then I expect Fox will do everything in their power to put out a Deadpool every 2 years until they get like 5 of them out and people are kind of uninterested in them. I would look to them to cast Logan again as a new Wolverine if Hugh Jackman's stepping down on the ASAP, especially after Logan did the numbers that it did, and then to start Logan over again with this R-rated heavy violence focus from the start, because we didn't really go into the violence playing such a big role. But there's a part of Logan that, like, if it was PG-13, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have liked that movie at all.
Oh,
so, like...
I shudder at the thought of it being PG-13.
So, like, the violence was important for it. And I could definitely see them at least letting the violence ride a little bit and being able to play against the PG-13 a little bit harder. Or being like, well, maybe Cyclops does, like, blow a hole through somebody. Maybe, like, Mr. Sinister or something who isn't gonna bleed, but like you'll see him get like limbs destroyed and like meat and organs growing back and stuff like that.
Okay.
Like maybe giving it like a little bit more leeway and being like, well, maybe if we do get an R, who cares? Because we've already swam in these waters twice. There's no sharks here. So like I'm saying, like if it's a what if from the perspective of they have found their market.
If they have, yeah.
I feel like they're gonna edge up their properties, even the ones that are a little more mundane. So we are probably gonna get that Fantastic Four that always says fuck. Like maybe not that full tilt, but I can absolutely see that if they found their market, that the edge is going to come. They're going to be a little bit more jagged, a little bit sharper. Because like already you got like Todd McFarlane being like, well, if you like the Wolverine and the Deadpool, the new Spawn's going to be like the most R-rated R you've ever R'd in your entire life. It's going to make those movies look so PG-13. Because that's, personally, that's the thing I don't want to see is the one-upsmanship of like, yeah, you may have stabbed that guy through the head, but I stabbed him through the head, and then I punched my dick out of the back of his skull, and then I ripped an eyeball out and swung it around, and then I ate it, and then I peed on something. And it's like, whoa, man, we don't need to go that far.
Right.
It's like, killing him was fine. I mean, even that seems a little excessive.
Down, Todd.
It's like, oh, Spawn's going to be so R, it's going to just, like, drop a shit on Logan and Deadpool. It's like, that's cool. Spawn's still a really uninteresting character.
God, is he ever.
It's like, he looks cool.
I don't even want to get into that.
Like, Spawn looks awesome. Like, Spawn could be cool, but, like, he's so 90s comics that it's just kind of like, ugh. But I don't know. But, yeah, like, that's my thoughts. Like, if we're playing
Yeah,
the
I
what
didn't
if
think
game
of it
that
from
they
that
have,
perspective. If thinking of it, if they have, or if they're deeming this as they're finding an audience, fuck yeah, 100%. They're going all in then. They'll keep their X-Men movies at a PG-13 and push them to the boundaries of where they can get a PG-13 before they get an R. I mean,
Right.
shit, they'll probably make them R-rated and cut down from there until they get a PG-13 rating. But aside from that, yeah, given the properties they own, Deadpool's already R-rated. We know that. X-Force is gonna be R-rated. It has to be.
now could a Psylocke by herself movie be R-rated?
Dude, even
Psionic Ninja Assassin.
it's just I mean, yeah, it can 100%. Well, I mean, and back to what I said with which X-Force are we going to? She was in Remender's X-Force, so yeah, and she's a bad bitch in that one.
Yeah, baby.
Not to offend anybody with that word or anything, but I mean, because words are so important now. You never know what words are okay to say anymore. Fuck.
Someone's triggered.
Dude, I'm gonna save it for another podcast, but
Someone's triggered. Get him to his safe
it's
space.
just ridiculous.
I don't say that to make fun of stuff. I've been dealing with so many alt-righties who get triggered. Probably now is as good a time as any to say that I got my first death threat over the stuff that I make, and it was a lot. It was actually a lot more thrilling than I thought it would be because I used the opportunity to put the person who gave me my death threat on blast and get people on the internet to harass him about threatening to kill me. Which is kind of funny because, like, my dad, who's, he's a hardcore conservative pro-gun, plenty of guns, had me trained how to fire and all sorts of stuff. I don't own a gun myself. But, like, my old man was just like, somebody wants to fucking threaten your life over a fucking comedy video? I hope he does come to your house. I'll be ready with my rifle to put his ass out as he tries to walk up to your house. I'm like, Dad, take it easy. No one's coming. Just, like, I appreciate that you would kill someone who wants to kill me. That's awesome. It's great. I love you. But no one's coming. I humiliated him on the internet, and he ran away. Yeah. So clearly he didn't have the heart for such an endeavor to begin with.
He gone.
He gone. But that's probably a good place. Death threats are usually a good place to stop the podcast, right?
It just went south.
Oh, man. It's just the way it is. But update for you guys. Our cohort, Sarah Dope, has recovered, and she's alive. So we should, in theory, be scheduling a games cast at some point.
There's rumors of a Plague 2.0 at their office now. So
but if she isn't dead, then we're
gonna try and figure
a games
something
cast
out for you guys.
If
get
not,
something going real soon.
then
I think February is a skippable month. I mean, not to skip any games cast, obviously, but holy shit, were those games bunk.
Yeah, the PlayStation ones, except for Little Big Planet, but
true.
But the Xbox ones were pretty good.
Rayman and what did we have?
No, was it Rayman and Death Trap? Because Death Trap was garbage. It's Killer Instinct, Rayman, and Death Trap.
Yeah. Yep.
Killer Instinct was tight, but like
God, Killer Instinct so Ultra Combo,
Ultra Turbo Mega Diet Latte Mocha Combo. Just like they're just saying words now. Ford Taurus Ultra Stick Shift Gas Economy Combo. Like, I don't. Was that good? I don't know. It was only 3 hits. I don't know, but I got excited. I got real excited.
Good.
We'll probably organize some kind of Let's Play again here real soon because I know Reeg is very fond of Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm doing my best to get a hold of a Nintendo Switch. And if I get a Nintendo Switch, I will absolutely do like a crazy long super session of Breath of the Wild at some point here, and we'll sit down and we'll have everyone in the same place because the Switch can go anywhere and do anything. It can do anything. It can make julienne fries. But we'll figure out some kind of Let's Play in the interim in case Plague 2.0 takes Sarah away from us again. so we can have some fun. And, as we found out, I didn't need to make a new Twitch account because only days after I made my new Twitch account, they enabled the ability to just go ahead and rename yourself. So now I have 2 Twitch accounts, and one of them is not going to get used anymore, which is the old one. So either way. But, so thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you guys. Tell 2 people about the show if you like the show. Feel free to enjoy everything on the YouTubes. We're going to be getting our other content stuff rolling again once we can really get it all dialed in and get it all figured out. But we absolutely appreciate you guys. We're zoning in on episode 50 real soon, which is a big milestone for a podcast. So thank you guys for allowing us to do this for at least 50 episodes. So
thank you
so much. And we will see you guys next week. Goodbye.